everyone, welcome to my channel. So I'm just going to do a quick update because I've had a very busy couple of days at work trying to catch up on some things. So I'm going to update you quickly on Meghan's podcast and Prince Harry's court case. So let's get into it. But before we get started, I saw this clip actually on Celibacy that shows King Charles and his wife having a little interaction, and there is a big deal being made out of it. When I look at it, I just see two old people that are familiar with each other. And if he was being nasty to her, I don't know. I don't care. But when I look at it, the thing that came to my mind is that this is what I wish for William and Kate. I want Charles and Camilla to be on the throne for a long time, and William and Kate left waiting until they're this old and this uninteresting. That's what I want. But who knows with all of this? But anyway, so I did listen to Megan's podcast and I loved it. I loved the pace of it. I love the chemistry between the two women. I love the confessions. One of them, of course, the one that's making the news is about her health issue that she had. And I see that a lot of the UK media and some media are trying to make light of it because they don't want people to make the connection that when they were trolling and bullying and being nasty to this woman, to this mother, she was going through health issues. That is why when Pierce Morgan was trying to downplay what she went through and say he doesn't believe her because he doesn't want people to make that connection that this is a real woman that they're doing all these horrible, terrible things to, while at times she's going through medical conditions and be a mother. And these people are doing the most to bully her for them to make money for their children and build a future for themselves on the back of Meghan. But they don't want you to think like that. They don't want you to see her humanity and her fragility. They just want you to see her as non human so they can do and say whatever it is they want to make money for themselves. But in other things, I see, of course, I've been seeing, various, because you can't help but see it. And they're making they're trying to review bomb this like they did with Love Megan, and they're saying everything that you can think of, the most. And when you happen upon their headlines or their article, when you go to another place and you find an article that they wrote, because you're not going to their site, and you wonder what is it they listened to and why did they even bother? Because they know that they're not listening to Megan to hear her. They're listening to her to criticize her. So why are they even pretending? They can go the way of what those other commentators call themselves journalists had done and review it without listening to it. Because basically that's what they're doing. They don't care what she says. While Megan is out there on the charts, oh my goodness, she is again beating Joe Rogan, by the way. She is number 4 on the chart, according to this, if I'm reading it right. And even one of my podcasts that I listen to, the Meidas stuff, she's ahead of them right now. So she is doing an amazing job, even though the naysayers are saying that nobody's gonna listen. I've seen so many things. Oh my goodness, it's not even worth talking about. And of course, there is Prince Harry that is in court right now trying to fight for his security.
Now to Prince Harry. Back in a London court again this morning as he fights a ruling that means his police protection has changed when he visits his homeland. Maggie Ruli's in London. Good morning, Maggie.
Hey, George, good morning. Yeah, Prince Harry is in court right now for what is day two in his case against the British government and what is essentially his last chance to change their stance on his security status. Now, since Harry is no longer a working royal, the government here decided to change his security protection, offering him that state funded police protection on a case by case basis only. Something Harry's lawyers argue is simply not enough. Now, guys, Harry could hire his own security team when he visits, but under UK law, they cannot carry firearms. Only police here can carry guns. In the past, Harry proposed to personally pay for this police protection, but a judge struck down that when a government lawyer argued that police are not, quote, bodyguards for the wealthy. Now, Harry says he is fighting this fight for his kids, and that right now he feels that it's unsafe to bring them here to the UK under the current security setup. And as of today, Archie and Lilibet, they haven't visited the UK or, guys, seen their grandfather, King Charles. Remember, he was diagnosed with cancer last year since 2022. Michael?
All right, Maggie, thank you.
This is wild to me that the king's son, he has two sons, and one of them is fighting for security, while the other one is flying off every which way doing all these casual things and have full security. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter who is the heir and who is the spare, whatever, whoever wants to call it. They're both the king's son. They should be protected equally. And now they are talking about working royal. They've coined this term to use it as a catch-all for everything. Oh, they can't stand on the balcony because they're non-working royals. No, they can't get protection because they're non-working royals. It's a term they made out of thin air that only came about for Harry and Meghan. And they used that term to do the most egregious things, to enact the most egregious revenge on people that did them nothing. They told their stories. And before they even opened their mouth, these people were doing these things to them. They're literally calling him Prince Harry and then says he does not deserve protection. They're trolling and bullying and stalking him across the ocean with his wife and family because he's Prince Harry, they say, and now they don't want to pay for security because he's a non-working royal. Yes, they say they're taxpayers over there, but they don't mind paying for the royals, which I am not. Tell me, one of them should show me what it is the royal family is doing as work, because I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. And so if you're talking about non-working royal, it should be all of them. And so again, like Harry said, he is given inferior treatment. He's not asking for the throne. He's asking for security, that he has security when he comes to that country and he doesn't have to tell everybody whatever it is he's going to do. And a lot of them keep talking about the $100 million that he has made. And by the way, that figure has never been confirmed. So they just came up with that number and stick it in there. Plus, you can be talking $100 million versus billionaires. They're paying for billionaires, but they don't want to pay for someone that has a few $1 million, but they're paying for billionaires. So the stories that they're saying, they don't make sense, but because they're on these platforms, and on these platforms, they don't have anybody sitting right there that is pushing back, somebody that is not being paid by them, that is there as an independent person that is telling them what they're saying has no basis in fact. Prince Harry is saying in his court case, or his lawyer is saying, that he has had credible threats made against him, including the chase of the paparazzi in New York. And he's saying that this group that I'll put here is saying that they want to off him. We see over the years how they've written about Princess Diana. You'd think they would have all this reverence for somebody that cared so much about humanity. But no, they don't. It's all about money for them. We have seen how they've treated Harry. Harry has a young family. What they had hoped for, they had hoped to see Harry broken and broken down and can say, you're left with a mixed race woman, and that's what you get. You get but instead he is looking like he is the heir. So, because his life is looking better and more prosperous than they ever could have imagined, and they're filled with envy and jealousy and rage, they are putting all this pressure. Harry said one of the worst things that they did when he put out his book was when they took out this part about his number out there, deliberately putting a target on his back.
There's some veterans in the house tonight. I think one of the most, look, I'm not going to lie, the last few days have been hurtful and challenging, not being able to do anything about those leaks that you refer to. But perhaps not perhaps, without doubt, the most dangerous lie that they have told is that I somehow boasted about the number of people that I killed in Afghanistan.
I've read that section of the book, and without reading the entire thing right here, to me, it's a very thoughtful description of what that knowledge is like to have, and what the experience is to know that you have done this in order to protect what you believe is good in the world from those who would wish to destroy it. There's nothing boastful about it, and not only that,
but also I would say that if I heard anybody else, or I heard anyone boasting about that kind of thing, I would be angry. But it's a lie, and hopefully now that the book is out, people will be able to see the context. And it's really troubling and very disturbing that they can get away with it.
That's what they did. And they're still doing that to him and his family, and yet envying his life. These people are deliberately putting pressure on them to try to unalive them, or at the very least break them apart, while actively campaigning and telling the public, riling up the public, that Prince Harry should not get security. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you like my content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And talk to you soon. Bye.